We've already explored all 157 Freys from the A Song of Ice and Fire books, so why not dive into the 22 named Freys from Game of Thrones? Let's milk this Frey cow. Let's start with Lord Walder himself. As the histories and lore tell us, he arrived at the Battle of the Trident after the rebels had won, earning the mocking epithet the late Lord Frey. During her narration, Catelyn informs us that Lord Walder encourages infighting amongst his family, which isn't in line with the book version, who has strong family values and wants his offspring united. When we first meet him in Season 1, he's looking good for a 90-year-old, god damn. The lore segment and these Frey soldiers at the Inn of the Crossroads confirm he has hit the big 90, but the actor David Bradley was in his late 60s. I don't know what Walder Frey's regiment is, but he's gonna share it. Also, despite being a wealthy noble family, all of the Freys and the twins dress like literal peasants instead of sporting grey and blue silk. Shout out to those stupid hats. They're cloth coifs, and presumably represent the fact that Walder Frey is a miser who doesn't give any of his wealth to his family, maybe? Anyway, Catelyn negotiates with him and he proves to be creepy, rude, slimy, and opportunistic. For Robb to cross the bridge and acquire the late Lord's troops, both he and Arya must marry Freys, and Robb must take a Frey squire. We don't see Walder Frey again until Season 3. Robb Stark wants to capture Castle Rock, and so he needs more men, but he's angered the Freys due to his marriage to Talissa, who takes the place of Jane Westerling from the books. Black Walder and Lame Lothar are sent to negotiate the terms of a new alliance, a marriage between Edmure Tully and Rosalind Frey. Before the wedding, Lord Walder scolds Robb and is creepy to his wife, whose book counterpart never attends this wedding.
I say he betrayed me for firm tits and a tight fit.
My goodness. This is, of course, the Red Wedding. Robb and Catelyn are killed, as well as the greatest Game of Thrones character, Wendell Manderly. How did he sneak in there? They really included Wendell's death, but abandoned the Wyman Manderly plotline? Why would you waste this glorious unit? He's not even in Season 7, let alone Season 8. Imagine this guy going to town on White Walkers. Oh yeah, at the climax of the massacre, Catelyn threatens Walder's wife, Joyeuse Ehrenford, instead of Jingle Bell Frey like in the book. Lord Walder callously remarks that he'll find another wife. Walder Frey and Roose Bolton planned this with Tywin Lannister's blessing. We learn during his victory breakfast that he's been made Lord of Riverrun, which in the books is granted to his second son, Aemon. Season 6 rolls around and Lord Walder has remarried someone called Kitty Frey. Okay then. He's angry and paranoid about his decaying power over the Riverlands. The Blackfish has retaken Riverrun, and houses Blackwood and Mallister have rallied against him. Don't worry, we don't get the Blackwood subplot from the books. That would have been way too fun. After Riverrun falls, Lord Walder hosts a victory feast with Frey and Lannister forces. At the end of his speech, he says, "We stand together," which might be the Frey house words in the show. Later, he tucks into some delicious pie. Hold on a second, that better not be. It's Frey pie. In the books, Wyman Manderly's men cook 3 Freys into pies and serve them at a Winterfell feast. Aenys potentially ends up eating his son Rhaegar. In the show, 2 of Walder's sons have been murdered and sliced up and baked into a pie single-handedly by Arya Stark, disguised as a random maid in the Frey kitchens. How? I have no clue. Anyway, Walder doesn't respect Arya's unnecessarily deep reference to the Rat Cook legend and tries to flee, only to have his throat slit and his face stolen. You know, the usual. He dies the same way as Catelyn, just as Roose Bolton dies the same way as Robb. Bit of irony there. Let's move on to Walder Frey's true-born sons. Stevron Frey appears in Season 1. He tries to scold Walder during the negotiations, but his father reminds him that he's not Lord yet, which implies he's the firstborn son and heir, as in the books. He then promptly disappears from the show. Perhaps he receives the same fate as his book counterpart, or perhaps he's poisoned by Arya in Season 7. Next up we have Lothar Frey. In the books he's the club-footed Lame Lothar, the cunning steward of the twins who helps orchestrate the Red Wedding. In the show he does walk with a limp, but the similarities mostly end there. We don't know if he's a steward or a master schemer. We first meet him in Season 3, arriving at Riverrun with his brother Black Walder. While Book Lothar presents a cheery and amiable front, this version comes across as soft-spoken and pragmatic. He asks that Robb formally apologise, grant Harrenhal to Lord Walder, and ensure Edmure Tully marries Rosalind Frey. He reappears at the Red Wedding. Talissa tells him that the musicians are good, and Lothar responds by saying they ought to be because they cost enough. This is a nod to Book Lothar, who hired the mercenaries and instructed them to pose as musicians in the gallery. Later, at Walder's signal, Lothar delivers the first kill of the night by unsheathing a hidden blade and stabbing the pregnant Talissa in her belly. Double kill. Again, Jane Westerling doesn't attend the Red Wedding, so isn't killed here, and in fact, the puppet master Lothar is not described as joining the massacre itself. In season 6, Lothar and Black Walder informs— whoa, what the fuck? Who's this meant to be? Oh right, yeah, his face transforms between seasons. Anyway, he informs his father about the Blackfish and is tasked with overseeing the siege of Riverrun. In the books, this job is assigned to the dull-witted Ryman and Emmon Frey, who prove to be completely incompetent. Likewise, the show version of Lothar botches the siege. His personality seems to have shifted somewhat. While he previously displayed a sleazy confidence, now he acts obsequious and apologetic, a deliberately stark contrast to Black Walder. He celebrates with the rest of his family after the siege, drinking at the high table with his father. He later gets killed by Arya and baked into a pie and eaten by his dad somehow. Sure, why not? Next up, we have the young Frey assigned as Robb Stark's squire, Oliver, famous in the books for being so damn wholesome. We never see him in the show, ever, at all. Hey, let's not forget Walder's young son that he wants to marry to Arya Stark, Elmar Frey. Wait, no, in the show he's called Waldron Frey. Waldron. Why? Genuinely why? Who decided this was a necessary change? It's not a big deal, I just don't understand why. Fellas, why? Did you just forget? Were you writing the script and the books were too far away from you and you couldn't be bothered to stand up? Is Elmar a particularly egregious name? It's not even a character replacement. There is no Waldron Frey in the books. Just— why? Ah yes, how can we forget about the mysterious Willem Frey? Alton Lannister tells his cousin Jaime that they both attended a tournament at Willem Frey's wedding. That could have been a fun nod to the book fans, except Willem Frey is a page at Ashmark, so he's literally a child. There are so many adult Freys, literally just choose one. Alright, we're moving on to the Trueborn daughters now. If you're wondering why I haven't mentioned Black Walder yet, you'll find out. So, Roslyn is married to Edmure. In the books, she's a small, pretty girl who can't hold back her tears. In the show, she doesn't seem super perturbed. She's also pretty hot. Sorry, Walder, but this is not your daughter. The last we see her, she's being carried off for the bedding ceremony. In season 6, we find out that she got pregnant by Edmure and gave birth to a son, but we don't see either. Presumably, the little family reconcile after the Tullys take back power. If Edmure's candidacy for Lord of the Seven Kingdoms had succeeded, we could have seen Queen Roslyn Frey, imagine that. A Queen Frey beyond the grave for Lord Walder. Walder Frey introduces a bunch of other daughters just before the Red Wedding. There's Derwa Frey.
My daughter Derwa.
No Derwa Frey in the books. Come on. There are so many female Freys. You could have chosen literally any name. Perianne, Taita, Amarai, Marissa. Why Derwa?
My daughter Walder.
Waldra? Who's Waldra Frey?
This is Arwyan.
Arwya? What kind of goofy ass name is Arwya? The appendix is right there, fellas, just read it. He introduces one of his daughters as
Walder.
Now, there's a lot of Walders. There's Fair Walder, Fat Walder, White Walder, but they're grandchildren or great-grandchildren. In fact, Lord Frey doesn't name any of his legitimate sons or daughters Walder or Walder in the books because he finds it annoying.
Sheree.
Oh look, Shirai, the youngest daughter. Just like in the books, I guess they copied one thing for some reason. We don't meet any grandsons in the show, so let's move on to the granddaughters. Fat Walder Frey is the daughter of Merryt Frey in the books. While we don't meet Merryt in the show, we do get the story about Roose Bolton marrying Fat Walder to obtain her weight in silver as a dowry during the Red Wedding. We officially meet her in season 5 as Lady Walder Bolton. She's shy and polite and reserved. There's no indication that she's infatuated with her husband like in the books, but she seems relatively happy, considering she's married to an immortal vampire in a skin suit. She later announces that she's pregnant with Papa Roose, which doesn't go well. While Roose insists that the legitimized Ramsay is the heir, not any son by Fat Walder, it's not enough to save her after she gives birth to a baby boy. Ramsay murders his own father in the most awkward death scene of all time, and then sets the hungry hounds on his stepmother and newborn half-brother. The other named granddaughters are
Janea.
Again, a non-book name.
Naila.
Naela Frey? What? Why?
Sarah and Sarah.
Oh, the twins Sarah and Sarah. They are from the books. That's pretty based.
My granddaughter Marianne.
Now, there is a Marianne in the books, but technically she's a Vance. She's Marianne Vance. Her mother is a Frey.
My granddaughter Freya.
Okay, Freya Frey is kind of funny.
I'm Mary.
There is a Marianne Frey in the books. She's the daughter of Sir Waylon Frey, and she's younger. Okay, now we're moving on to the bastards. Rhaegar Rivers' only appearance is in season 1, when he scolds his father and then mogs. Walder reminds him he's little more than the son of a milkmaid. This scene is in the books, and just like in the books, Rhaegar Rivers vanishes from the story. Alright, it's time to reveal why I haven't mentioned the infamous Black Walder yet. That's because in the show he's a bastard. An amalgamation of the gruff older bastard Walder Rivers and the young hot-tempered Black Walder Frey. That's right, he's Walder Rivers. When he travels to Riverrun, he's ruder and more blunt than his true-born brother. At the Red Wedding itself, he slits Catelyn's throat. In the books, Raymond Frey murders Catelyn because she's going insane, even though they wanted her as a hostage, while in the show her death is presumably part of the plan. In Season 6, he tells his father about Riverrun and later commands the siege with Lothar. Unlike the competent Walder Frey, who successfully takes Seaguard without bloodshed, Walder Rivers is a mess. He threatens to hang Edmure to no avail, and then threatens to personally cut his throat while bragging about killing Catelyn, again to no avail. In stark contrast to his obsequious brother, Walder stands up to Jaime Lannister.
Good thing we're friends, or we'd be fucking you in the ass right now.
No, Brunt, not the ass. You're not American, don't say ass. Ever. Anyway, Jaime bitch slaps Walder with his golden hand, which is inspired by the moment in the books when Jaime hits Ryman Frey. Nonetheless, he celebrates with his family. Damn, a bastard on the high table. Lord Walder must be feeling generous. Oh no, it doesn't last, he becomes a pie. So those are all the named Freys in the show. The last we see of House Frey is Season 7, when every male Frey who is quote-unquote worth something, which presumably means they took part in the Red Wedding, is invited to a feast. Surprise, they're mass poisoned by Arya Stark wearing Walder Frey's face. We do a little trolling. We do a little Freyicide. Of course, if you want to learn about every single book Frey, or about the history of House Frey in general, check out these videos. Like and subscribe to support the channel, check out the Patreon and the merch in the description if you'd like, and let me know who your favourite show Frey is in the comments. Special thanks to my patrons, in particular Alex the Pagan, Caden, Coleshot, Dev Cole, Jack, Itchaboy and Morphe.